La la la. And here we
What?
are. Was that a big exciting in your face? Boom, we're here. Welcome.
Yes.
Yes. We're very enthused tonight. Yes.
I am.
Because it's cold.
I'm always
It's
enthused.
freaking cold here. When it's cold, I'm enthused.
Yep, happy to be inside.
Yes. It's weather like this that make men realize they have nipples too.
Oh my Lord.
I don't know.
All right.
You got our snow. Well, we're sorry. We didn't get any snow. We got a little bit of ice last night, which interfered with the feed a little bit, but it has been cold here today. I think high was like 26.
Hello, Hobby Habit. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, no, the ice is done. We're done with the sun actually came out this morning, and what ice that we have, it took care of it. But it's all the melt is froze back up, and there's ice as far as anywhere there's water, it's froze up. But yes, all right. So enough about the cold. I've been having to deal with it all day anyway. So. We'll kind of give everybody a little time to show up and get here so that we're not saying the same thing over and over and over as we can sometimes do. So lots of new people showing up on the Facebook, lots of paint jobs here over the last couple of weeks, lots of new followers. So good deal.
Yeah, we had one person show up with like a completely painted Malvernus for us. Like, hi, I'm new. By the way, here's my totally beautiful Malvernus.
Yeah, here's all my stuff. So
it's like jealousy.
Yeah.
Hashtag
well,
jealous.
If you're going to come in big. Be the big dog.
Yeah, apparently.
He's new to James.
A lot quieter than John. Well,
Am I? Well, I can turn you up a little bit. Am I too loud? Maybe I'm just too loud. I turned my mic up because James told me I was too quiet earlier. So
a little bit too quiet. Is that any better, Ilmarin? Talk into the microphone. Professional streamer.
Yes. Whatever. We're here to have a good time. You want to get bored and stuff like that, go watch like Critical Role or something like that. It's like watching guys at the library. That's a joke, by the
way. Critical Role isn't all guys.
I know. Well, to me, guy is that's my unisex word. So when I say guys, everybody. Stand back. We are streaming.
Hallelujah.
But I saw the Cthulhu. The Cthulhu that put up the Templar Force.
Mm-hmm. Templars.
Yeah. And then Dave put up his Adon, his yellow and gray and orange.
The Peacekeepers?
The Peacekeepers.
Like, I will murder you if you're not peaceful.
Yes.
Keepers.
So I absconded with their paint schemes.
You're the owner of the company. You do whatever you think is right.
We'll take your paint scheme in a heartbeat. So, yeah, because we still got a lot of ones we got to fill in. When I redid that sheet, I was like, oh my gosh, look at all the stuff there on there.
Yep. Or at Neil Marin is the chief bottle washer.
Yes. First class. Head dishwasher in charge, first class. So, yeah, the rad forces are really rad. So that's good. You're good to go there. like I was kind of explaining a little bit last night. Somebody was asking me about them, and they're kind of like the French Foreign Legion. Of course, with the Adenese still actually being made up of their individual nation states, they rotate their units through for NATO. So, but they want to have troops that they use for training, for fast reaction, to always be ready no matter what, and they have their own assigned ships. And they recruit out of everywhere, out of all the nation states. So you don't have, it's not like like Hemdale or something like that, sending one of their divisions in there that's all made up of Hemdale. They're all, you get them mixed and matched, and they sign up, and that's where they serve. So then they can always rotate back into nation units, or they can retire if they, whatever is their deal, but they actually report directly to NATO. So that is what the RAD divisions are. But so one of the things, or the main thing I wanted to talk about last night, because this has come up before, and then we get new people that come in and they're asking the questions again, is how a squad is put together. There seems to be some confusion about what you can mix and match and everything like that. So we're going to kind of take that again tonight and talk about that a little bit so that everybody understands. So let's talk first about the basic squad in the game is an attack squad. Okay. An attack squad is made up of models that have the attack task as what they're supposed to do. Now, that as a primary squad, which means you can take as many of them as you want, and that's what you have to start off with, they can have 4 to 6 models in that squad. Those models can be CAVs or they can be vehicles. So if you want to take 4 CAVs and 2 vehicles, or 3 vehicles and 3 CAVs, however you want to do it, or just 2 and 2, as long as it's between 4 and 6 CAVs and vehicles, that is a legal squad. No matter what you put in there, whether you put one group, one faction, 3 factions, however, models or whatever, that is a legal squad. Now, one of those models can be a different task. So you can put a CAV or a vehicle in there that's either a recon or that's fire support. Okay? You don't have to. You can if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
A basic squad is made up of 9 infantry, stands for quick gameplay. Not sure where that one came from, but we'll go down the road here. So now, when you talk about, and that's all it is. That's the basis of how a squad is. It can have 4 to 6 CAVs and vehicles, or all CAVs or all vehicles, or however you want to mix and match them. One of them can be a fire support or a recon model if they want to be, or they all can be attack. That's totally your choice. Those are legal squads to play in, whether you're playing in a tournament, whatever it is supposed to be. Okay? Now, where a faction comes into this is there are players that want to have a more structured set of criteria to follow. Okay? So this is where the faction doctrine or the faction rules come in. So let's say that you want to play an 8-on force. Okay? And if you want to be completely legal by the faction, they have 4 models in a squad. I believe 8-on's 4. Is that right? I think so. Whatever. So, and they have to be set up as either 4 CAVs or 4 vehicles. Okay, they don't mix and match in the actual the way that they're set up is they don't mix and match. Okay, you have this squad's tanks, this squad's vehicles. Now you can have a squad of CAVs and a squad of vehicles in the same force group if that's what you want to have. So the reward for choosing to play that way is the faction doctrines. So if you follow how the faction is organized from their TO&E and do like you're supposed to, then you get to choose one of the faction doctrines to use. That's the only time that it comes into play is if you are, and again, you can play it however you want to play it, but this is the way it's legal in the game, in the book, the real book to play. So if you want to play, and if you don't play by the TO&E, that does not mean you're not an 8-on force, okay? You're still a legal 8-on force if you put 5 in a squad or 6 in a squad or however many you want to put in there. If you mix and match tanks and CAVs, you are still legal. You're just not eligible to use faction doctrines if you're playing as they are put in the book. That's not to say you can't use them or whatever. Mm-hmm. You're still allowed to, but by the book, if you do that, you're not faction eligible for their doctrines. So that is where the difference is. And if you can, and if you want to say that you're, and if you're trying to get behind the story or whatever, you can always say that, if you have a 6 model CAV squad that's 8-ese, you can say that's a reinforced squad. If you have tanks and CAVs mixed together, you can just say, these guys got attached to these CAVs for this mission, or they sometime in the battle these two got separated from their squad and they're part of your squad. There's 100 different role-playing background reasons that you can come up with doing that. So that's all, but that's how it all boils down to at the basis of that, is if you want to mix and match CAVs and vehicles in an attack squad, 4 to 6 models, you are still legal. And if you take all 8-ese models, and even if you put 6 of them in there, you're still a legal 8-ese force. You're just not eligible for the faction doctrine. Does that make sense?
I mean, it makes sense to me, but I have some observations or maybe questions.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure what to call it.
Okay.
So, first of all, in the context of a tabletop game, isn't there some way to absorb a stray model into another unit? Can't you spend a command point and activate model from a different squad as part of a separate? Am I remembering that correctly?
You can. If you're using command points, you have the ability to spend a command point and activate a model out of another squad during that one. So let's say you've got 2 attack squads. Each of them have 4 CAVs in it. You draw your card, you activate the squad, and you say this squad is activated. You can use a command point and also activate a model out of the other squad. Not the whole squad, but another model out of that squad. So let's say you are wanting to early on, get an APA up and going, or you're trying to jam up somebody's ECM or something like that. Okay, then you can you have the ability to do that and move somebody out of the deal. Now he doesn't get to go again, so when that other squad activates, he's already done. Okay, he's done whatever he's supposed to do.
So during the course of this sort of glued together activation, the model that was activated using the command point, does he operate as part of this other squad for the duration of that activation?
For till the end of that activation. He's not in that squad, but he is activated.
So I guess I'll just ask the specific question I was trying to get to. So let's say I've got a squad that does not have an EST model,
He
and
cannot.
they
It's
so he can't do EST
no.
for his newly
ES,
activated squad mates.
EST is only active for the actual squad that he's assigned to. So you're not reassigning him to another squad. You're just moving him out of his regular activation.
Okay.
So you
So,
cannot do that.
so if a squad is reduced to a single model, let's say I've got a recon squad that's been killed all the way down to the last model. There's no way to actually join that model to another squad. You can only do it
There
on
is
a
there
command
is a
point,
special action that
right?
is referred to as. You're going to make me look it up just so that I give you the right name.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm getting at is I feel like there's a way. I can't remember the details of that rule, so I'm real curious for you to find it and read it because it seems like there might be a way to do some sneaky stuff with rearranging squads once the game starts.
Well, yes and
So
no. Yes and no, because there has to be a certain special. Okay, it's
conditions.
right. It's the regroup action. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That is the name. So during a battle, a squad may take casualties that degrade its ability to fight effectively as a unified force. The regroup action allows two damaged squads to join together, making a new, stronger single squad. So, to use the regroup action, both squads must have fewer models in them than the maximum amount allowed for their squad type. An active squad may only regroup with a squad on the game board that has not yet activated during the current turn. And then you go through all that, and what happens is, as it goes through the rest of the thing, it becomes a new squad. It is a squad in and of itself. So if at that point, if you've got a guy that has EST and is now in that squad, then they are eligible to use that. Okay. But where the trick is if let's say you've got a squad of 4 and a squad of 3, and you're like, okay, I'm going to activate and regroup these guys. You're losing one of because you can't have more CAVs or models in a squad. Yeah. So automatically somebody's removed from the board. So you have to.
Well, that's interesting because that doesn't say that.
It does.
Say remove a model.
It does. It's yes.
Where does it say that?
Let's see. Extra models, if any, that will not fit into the newly formed squad are removed from play immediately and count towards any victory conditions established by the scenario as if they were destroyed.
So not that I would ever imagine this is a useful strategy, but you could potentially have a 4-man attack squad with all 4 attack CAVs, a specialist squad that had a recon and an attack squad in it, and immediately regroup them into a 6-man squad?
Yes, but here's the problem.
It would be foolish
because
you could do it.
Well, because it automatically becomes a specialist squad, which is 4 models.
Why?
So
why would it do that?
If
they
they're
become a 6-model attack squad?
Because if you are combining, well, yeah, as long as they're all legal models that can normally go into a squad, yes. But I'm talking about.
That's why I said.
I'm sorry.
Squad is a recon guy and an attack guy.
Yeah.
And the attack squad is 4 attack guys. Now I can suddenly make a 6-man squad. Again, it would be foolish to do so because you're going to lose an activation card, and I can't imagine a scenario where you'd want to do that.
Right.
Just trying to think around the edges of the box to see where the rule
applies
and where it
doesn't. Where it really comes into play would be maybe, because you're going to give up a card, blah, 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 or whatever. But, maybe out of a squad, all you have left is one model that's a recon with EST, and he's kind of useless by himself.
That's perfect.
Yeah, and pull him into another squad, and so that he can work together there. So
this regroup action does or does not take a command?
It does not. It's an action just like a special action, like an attack or whatever.
It's the borrowing a model that requires a command.
Correct. Yeah, because you're activating him. You're not putting him in your squad.
Right. Okay, and that answers Ilmarin's question. If you do this via the command point, you can't use his EST in the squad that he's in.
Correct, because he is not actually in your squad. You're just
Now,
activating him out of order.
so hypothetically, just to again push the corners all the way out, I pull the CST model into my other squad. We take our actions, amongst which is him getting a target lock on an enemy model. That target lock still applies to his squad, right? So when they activate later in the turn, the remaining models will be able to take advantages of his EST.
Yes, if it's in play at that point when you become activated, then you would be able to take advantage of that. Now,
Sweet.
now he does ask, do we expect that to change when the faction doctrines get rebuilt, or for that flexibility to be an option on the new doctrine trees? It will not change. So I'm assuming we're talking about models that go into what we were talking about earlier.
Right.
The faction doctrines, the way they're used and the way that will not change in the campaign book. What the faction doctrines are going to do is they are going to be fleshed out. And then some of the doctrines that don't really apply anymore or don't really work will go away. So
the second part of the two things I wanted to bring up was to go back and talk a little bit about the TO&E. What does that mean again? What does that stand for?
Table of Organization and Equipment.
That's what I thought.
Yep.
Okay, so if I remember correctly, and I'm hoping that I'm wrong, so correct me if I am, all of the factions have kind of the same TO&E. In other words, to qualify for a faction doctrine, you can't mix tanks and CAVs. Is that true for all factions?
Yes, other than in a specialist squad. You're still allowed in a specialist squad to mix stuff up.
And this is just my personal preference or taste. It seems odd to me that all these alien races would have the same basic TO&E rule. That just seems odd to me. I mean, why would not one of them ever imagine building their traditional forces with a mixture of unit types?
Well,
seems odd.
I mean, you could on your deal, but
no,
I don't think
that's not what I'm
I
saying.
don't think that it's odd, because I think that would be. I think that that's the reason why every military in the world does it. Is
now you sound like Chris.
It makes sense.
Now you sound like Chris.
Well, I'm not. I'm just. It's kind of the why make it harder than it needs to be. You can, because you can
seem alien,
but you can do that.
I mean,
you don't have you can do it what you want to do then.
But the point is, at the fundamental root, they all decided to organize their militaries in exactly the same way.
Well,
I feel like you've missed an opportunity there to differentiate between the races.
Again, you can do it. I don't need to make a special rule for one race to be different, because you can do that if that you want to do it. But we're playing, at the end of the day, we're playing all by the same rules. So it's not necessary to make another rule for this faction or another rule for this faction, because you can do it regardless. But for everybody,
to me, it makes all the factions seem the same a little bit.
Well, at the end of the day, they are. So, I mean, there's things that we put in there that mix and match a little bit, but at the end of the day, for game balance, they're all the same. I mean, you run into that with their CAVs and their models. There's, everybody's got their version of an ogre, or kin or whatever. I mean, there's little things that change them up, but for the sake of balance, there's just no reason to come up with something so wild that we have another whole set, another level of criteria that you're trying to keep track of.
I guess it depends on what you prioritize.
That would probably be so, for sure. But they do keep different models in the as far as how many goes in their squad. There's some change up there and stuff like that, but um, it just goes back to game balance. There's just, at the end of the day, they're all versions of the same thing, for the sake of game rules. Because you could go in and you could do a whole level of, and that might be something that we touch on down the road, is maybe different factions have some different special abilities, or the faction doctrines. There may be one of them that have a doctrine that mixes and matches down the road. Who knows how that goes? And that's where the doctrines are going to become a lot more, they were put in there. It's really the faction doctrines are what is supposed to make a faction different from another faction. Okay. Mm-hmm. So when we took them, the ones that we had from CAV 2, and I moved them over and everything like that, that's one of the reasons I want to go back and address them, because they didn't have as much variety at the end of the day that I wanted them to be. There's some of them that are very, like the Ritter being able to get the extra card and things like that. But they didn't spread it out enough. And that's the way the new style of doctrines will be, is there are each faction, and this is subject to change, but this is the format that it is in right now, is each faction will have 5 faction doctrine trees. Okay. Mm-hmm. This, whatever, this one's name, this one's name, this one's name. Each one will have 3 levels. So here, this doctrine does this, but if you go to the second level, it does this, and you do this one. Or if it goes to the third level, you get this, this, and this. Okay. Mm. And they'll be scored by points. And you'll be able to, if you're playing in the campaign, as those points accrue, you'll be able to spend those on your doctrines. So let's say the first one of each tree costs 1 point. Okay. That's just for example. I don't know for 100% sure. And then at 1 point, you grow enough in the campaign that you have 5 points to have spent, and you'll spend them as you go along. You won't get them all at one time, but you could theoretically go through and take the first level of all 5 faction doctrines. Okay. You're going to be able to mix and match those. So instead of just having to do this one every time, you'll be able to put points here, or whatever, and get different things as you go along. And that's how that will work back into a pickup game. Okay. Let's say that, Bob and Joe are going to get together Saturday and play a game. You'll be able to say, okay, we're using faction doctrines, bring a 5,000 point force, and you have X number of faction points. So you'll be able to take those points in a block and assign them however you want. So if you're playing a 10-point faction game, you could take all 10 points and get all 3 levels of one doctrine, or you could take a 1 here and a level 2 here, and and you'll be able to mix and match those a little bit.
Okay, but these, and by the way, that sounds fantastic. It sounds very interesting. But it's still going to be predicated on following this CAVs only in a squad, tanks only in a squad sort of
correct
TO&E premise?
Correct. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And, that's not, like I said, that's not to say that one of the doctrines may let you get away around that some way or something like that. Okay. But like I said, I just think, because I gave a lot of thought of it, so as to that point of it, and I understand where you're coming from, and we've had that conversation a little bit before. But to me, it's weighted more towards that's the way people would, or aliens would do something. They just wouldn't have a CAV and a vehicle at the start. It's not to say it doesn't happen and goes through and mix and match them. So that's where that goes from. And if you want to have them operating together are like that. That's where the way that you build your squads. You can build a 4 model CAV attack squad and a 2 vehicle specialist squad if that's what you want to do, or whatever. Or if you wanted to do 2 attack squads and have 4 CAVs and 4 tanks. They're working together. They're out there fighting together. They're just technically under 2 squads, and that falls back to just that's where the rules need to be, so that we're all playing on a somewhat level field. So it could be something like that. Like I said, I know that the faction doctrines, the ones that are the good ones, are staying. The ones that are bad ones are going. And they're going to that they're just, and that's one of the things that we are doing. That's the reason why I'm not saying they're 100% set yet, because we've got our list. We're working with our list for each faction, but we're really taking the time to look at them and make sure that this is not something so wacky and out of play. And it's not to say that they still won't be powerful. I'm not trying to go and defang a doctrine. I want doctrines to be, they're a reward for you playing the way that we want you to play. So, so sometimes, depending on how it works and how it does, it'll benefit a player to a degree. Again, everybody has the ability to choose from that. I'm not as worried much in the campaign system, because that's part of the campaign system. We want to have that mix and match and stuff that goes into it. But it may be that if somebody decides to take that particular faction and they get that deal, and you're not set up to counter something like that, I mean, you can run into that already. If you get a Terran force that, is using their aircraft doctrines and stuff like that, and you don't have any way to do anything versus aircraft, you could be in trouble. So you got to plan ahead, got to think about it. So anyway.
So John, would you agree with the idea that it's your vision that these doctrines are going to feel different from faction to faction, so that when I read the list of the Rock doctrines and I read the list of the Templar doctrines, I'm going to see the flavor of the Rock and the flavor of the Templar, and they're going to be distinct?
Yes, there will be no doctrine that any one faction will have that's a variant of it or whatever. It's all going to be, they're all going to be individual into themselves.
Sweet. So perfect.
And and there's, like I said, there's going to be 5 of them, and it'll be something that we build on. It may be, down the road we'll a campaign book or something like that will come up with a new doctrine that a particular faction can pick from, or something like that. Or we add a 4th level, or, there's lots of things that we can do to it. Again, I'm not as worried about it on the campaign side of things. Where the biggest one that we have to worry about is on pickup games or tournament games, if it's being used in a tournament. We don't want it to throw it so far off that it just, everybody plays ADON in a tournament. Okay. If, they're using faction doctrines, everybody play ADON, because that's the only way you're going to win a tournament. We don't want that to happen. And by the same token, we don't want to have so much stuff happen that, there's a lot to keep track of, that you're trying to remember, I've got this, and I've got this, and I got that, I can do this, I can't do that. So, that's where those points have to be balanced out, so that we have enough points that you can pick up a little bit of things, but not go there. Yes, everybody will have doctrines. At the end of this, at the campaign book, there are faction doctrines for all the factions. There's going to be a mercenary set. There's a pirate set. There is a security force set. And I think that there's one more. I don't remember off the top. Maybe there might be one more. Yeah, I can't remember.
The Rock AI set.
Yeah. But yeah, everybody will be able to. Everybody in the campaign and going forward will have some doctrines that they play with. Now, some of those are going to be balanced by like mercenaries, because they get to pick from whatever they want to pick from. So that in and of itself is a pretty strong ability, can be. So, we have to take those into account too. So that's kind of almost a doctrine right there for mercenaries, that they're able to mix and match and stuff like that. So, and they can,
I would hope there would be,
and they don't, and they, I mean, and that goes back to that example that you want. I mean, if you want to have 2 CAVs and 4 vehicles in a squad, then play as an independent or that's it, independence. That's the other doctrines.
okay.
So,
So I know in your tournament rules, you've got the different levels of tournaments that can be run. What are the gold, silver?
well, gold and silver.
I can't remember the name.
It's level 1, level 2, or level 3 that refers to the rules.
Okay.
Yeah. So a level 3 tournament includes doctrines.
I was going to say maybe you just make a tournament rule that says, hey, you're only allowed to buy the first level of doctrines in a tournament.
Yeah, no,
something
that's
like that, and that,
yeah.
and that way you could let the casual games explore the like the higher powered doctrines and still keep doctrines viable for a competitive, balanced, even Steven kind of tournament setting.
And that might be the simplest way to do it on a pickup game. You get to pick one doctrine and you get all 3 levels. Something like that.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. So, but hopefully we will have them all good and balanced when they come out. So that's something that we're spending a lot of time and working on, and that's when I can't tell you when the campaign book's going to be out, because we're really we've got the bones of it all set up, but now it's, before we move ahead, we're making sure all these little things that need to be tweaked and are working together. So, and we might here at a point get some early copies out for some people to look at. So that might be something that comes up.
Let's open the stores back up. Cthulhu and I need to play.
Q1 2021 continue. No, right now we're trying to get the journal. I'm trying to get the Flashpoint finished and the JOR. That's the 2 big things that are at the top of my list right now, and the initiative cards. So we're trying to get all those out. Okay. So anybody else have any more squad questions as far as? And I know that somebody has asked me before about aircraft. You can actually have 6 aircraft as a force. If you want to take a specialist squad, which is a primary squad, and put 4 aircraft in it, and then take a flight squad with 2 aircraft, and that is a legal force with six aircraft. So if you want 6 aircraft, that's a way that you can do it. You can actually, if you take an attack squad and a specialist squad, you can actually get 8 aircraft. You can take the special squad with 4 and then 2 flight squads, because your specialist and your attack squad are both primary squads. So yes, you can start humming Ride of the Valkyries.
If only I had 6 painted aircraft.
Yeah. Or 8 even.
I don't have 8. I've only got 6.
I know.
Sorry.
I know. I think an all aircraft game would be fun.
I mean, just say ahead of time we're going to play nothing but aircraft.
Nothing but aircraft. Yeah.
Yeah, the rules, I think it would be very bloody. There's no terrain.
So, yeah, everybody, I mean, it's going to be, it definitely, and speed wise, I mean, both of you are flying back and forth across the board. So, I would think
Ilmarin,
I would think that would be a big time where firing arcs would become a big deal.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, because, well, that and people have to really come to grips with improved handling as an
right,
SA. I know when I played those aircraft in the War Master tournament, it was not many people had really thought through what that little bit of side slipping movement does to your model
right,
as it crosses the
right,
table. Took a while to kind of help people grasp what that meant.
right. Yeah, because you've got with aircraft, you've got unless they've got a turret, but
Right,
there's no torso turning or anything like that. So they're
right.
only shooting straight ahead in these corridors and
To the width of their wings,
right to the
right?
width of their wings. So
Mhm.
yeah, facing becomes a much bigger deal and trying to.
Mhm.
I mean, just like in real aircraft combat, the where
Yes.
do you want to be on your tail facing, you facing away from me. So
Right.
if only there were anti-air aircraft. Well, there are. If you're got an aircraft that's an attack that's set up to kill other aircraft, then that's what you are. You are an anti-air aircraft.
I mean, aren't all aircraft
It,
anti-aircraft?
it
Didn't we
technically,
establish that after the
yeah, I
yeah,
mean technically in a way, but obviously, a transport with a machine gun is probably not going to take
yeah.
you out. So, as
So
opposed to
so
the
what
to the guy coming up on your tail with the autocannons.
but
Zzz.
I'm talking specifically about the nap of the Earth rule, right? I mean, all aircraft can shoot through nap of the Earth,
Yeah,
correct? Whereas other models have to have the anti-aircraft SA to be able to shoot through
yeah,
nap of the Earth flying.
yeah, and
So all aircraft are technically
right,
anti-aircraft.
and there are a couple of aircraft that have anti-aircraft, but that's just because they're specialized. And rather than come up with a whole new essay that does the exact same thing is what we say we call it AA, but that's what it is. They are set up. Those are basically F-15s. If you see an attack aircraft with anti-aircraft on it, they're they're interceptors. That's what they are. They're to go out there and kill other planes. So.
Yep.
And we know that you're being a butt. Everybody wants to be a butt. It's the story of my life.
John, you've got it so good. You have to balance it out
I
somehow,
know,
right?
I know. It's a karma thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, what other questions can we answer about squads? We got 15 minutes left. Can you believe 45 minutes went just like that?
I mean, it's crunchy. There's a lot of rules and things to talk about when you start digging into the actual mechanics of the game.
Yeah.
There's plenty of crunch there.
Yeah, and and that's you know, I, to me that has always been a strong point of CAV, and it's not something that's unique to CAV. There's other games that have it out there, but it's not a cookie cutter game. There are little types of things that you can mix and match
Mhm.
and do things that other people can't. That may not that's not nearly as cut as dry as a lot of games.
Ilmarin, did somebody send you a cursed scorpion? Hmm.
Those are models I'm looking for the redo. The
So
spider
you're
and
going to remake the
the
scorpion?
spider and the scorpions and stuff like that. Yep.
Interesting.
Yes, they'll all be four-legged quads. They won't have six legs or however many legs they've got now, but um, I
Mhm.
think they're going to turn out nice. I've
I
got some sketches that I've done that already to.
Generally speaking, I feel like CAV models look fantastic. I've got my CAVCon Force sitting on the table over there behind the camera where I can see it and right at eye level, and I'm like, those outlaws, those poltergeists, fantastic. I love them.
Yeah, well, I mean, and we're trying. I mean, I'm not like I said. I'll be the first to admit that not every thing that we throw out there is a hit, and some people like them, some people don't. But I think that we're trying. We're trying to hit 100%. or bat 100 or whatever, bat 300, 1,000.
Did you by any chance have a meeting with the 3D printer guru by any chance?
No,
The weed whacker devices?
no, I have not.
Too bad.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Well, he's been sick.
I understand.
Yeah. So I think he ate, and it's not COVID or anything like that. I think he ate something that didn't agree with him.
I hope he gets to feeling better.
I did talk to him Tuesday-ish, I think, and he did say he was feeling better. So
good.
Yep.
We need
is he on
broadswords,
here?
John.
He may be on here.
I've not seen Bloody Lemming post.
Nope.
We need broadswords. You try to change the subject, John. Let's stay focused here. Broadswords. We need broadswords.
Well, we're working on it.
I know you are.
So we also have another secret dropship project, and I've been working on this week.
That. I've been trying to trick you into saying something about that all night.
So we'll see how that goes. That we're trying to work that out. There might be a second dropship. There might have been a second dropship sighted. So we shall see.
I've seen some of the 3D modeling on it. It's pretty cool.
I actually worked on it some yesterday and a little bit this morning. So it's coming together. So I'm very excited to see it, the finish, to see how it turns out. So it's going to be set up a little different with as a laser cut kit. So
yep, Hobby Habits second drop ship.
Yep. Yeah, another factions drop ship that I'm working on, that I'm trying to do the so that we can laser cut them, so it'll be like an MDF kit. So
do we have any progress on the Thunderhead Studios project?
Well, a little bit, but the drop ship got in the way. So.
I understand, John. John, you need two separate setups. That way you can sculpt with both hands.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Work on one project with your left hand and one project with your right hand.
Yeah. The MDF is a funny thing to work with because of its thickness. And when it cuts, it only cuts up and down. You can't get any kind of a bevel or anything when you're cutting with the laser. It's all got to be 90 degrees. So you have to, anywhere that you have anything that comes together that's at an angle, you have to take that into account. So you have to use that in your design on how it sets up. And you can go back with little pieces of cardboard and stuff like that and kind of cover it up. And that's how a lot of kits are set up like that, is they go there. So that tells me it likely isn't rock, since they use bubble canopies. Who knows? I don't know if you've ever looked at the Badger. I don't know that there's much of a bubble canopy on that dude, but you never know. You never know who it could be. So,
John, we want 28 millimeter hedgehogs.
28 millimeter hedgehogs. Yeah.
Come on now. Come on, John. Love the hedgehog. What did it ever do to you?
Lot of history there. A lot of history.
I know, John. I know, John.
So I'm relatively sure if you go back and look at the original hedgehog, there's not a single curved or angled.
Not one. It's like you built it out of Lego.
Yes, it is a block. It is all blocks. So I wonder why. Well, who knows? So
any decisions in the back of your mind about what we're doing for virtual CAVCon?
I kind of worked on some things this week as far as some of the specials that we're going to have for it, and some things like that, but not anywhere that's 100% where I'm at.
Okay.
that I'm ready to
Sure.
get on that. Hopefully, we'll have some more information on that next week.
All
So,
right.
But there might even be a couple of new paint colors coming out.
What?
What?
CAV paint colors?
Yeah.
Woot.
So, and we'll have a new CAV and a new vehicle.
New tank.
Yeah, for it. So we are
get rock pink.
Yes, we
right?
are.
Rock pink.
We are still waiting to get everything in so that we can finish getting our dual cast system in place. So hang in there. Just like we talked about last week, there are people that next week means 2 months from now.
Yes,
that I'm finding out, which I always know that it never fails. That everybody's time frame is never what they tell you it's going to be, and oh yeah, we'll have that ready to go in 2 days, and oh, by the way, between now and then we took off 2 weeks for Christmas. Oh, really? Good. Glad that worked for you. Wish we all could.
Worked great.
Wish we all could.
Yeah.
So,
and part of the problem is, as a community, we all have, Christmas, kid Christmas syndrome going on, right? We're like, no, Christmas is right around the corner and it's taking forever. So we know the dual cast process is right around the corner, and OMG.
It kills me. I'm so ready for it to be done, and we're producing and new stuff's coming out. I look at all these things that we have ready, new things to do and stuff to put out, and the new VTOLs and helicopters and engineering vehicles, and there's just piles and piles of things. It's waiting for all this to go. So, more tanks in dual cast.
Yes.
Well, yeah, of course it would be. I mean, going forward, anything new will be dual cast. So
all the tanks, all the time.
Yes. So the only thing that'll be still in plastic will be whatever's already been produced. And once those are out, then we will, like I said, we're never going to replace a thing, but we will come out with an updated model or something for it. So that way you'll never have your, if you have one of the original Despot A's, it'll always be a Despot A. We're not saying, oh, tomorrow it's no good anymore. So anyway, so that's kind of where we're at on everything. So we keep pounding away a little bit every day. So can only hope. So how is your faction force coming along?
Are you talking to me?
No. Hey!
For virtual CavCon. So I cleaned up all my poltergeists last night while I was listening to your terrain stream.
Yes, my 15-minute terrain stream.
I did have to stick around a little bit afterwards, and so I intend to, by this weekend, I'm going to have all the rest of the models cleaned up and assembled and probably primered. I've picked out a paint scheme. They're going to be very yellow, with some accents of purple and black. And I'm going to do a ton of airbrushing because it's fast and it's good for laying down very light yellows. This is going to be way yellower than the Almirathol models. Those are basically brown with some yellow highlights. These are going to be like, oh my God, yellow. That's what yellow they're going to be.
Yeah. Scimitars. There will be a new version of the Scimitar coming out. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be the Scimitar 2 or something like that. But it needs to be updated.
Remodeled.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree. It's a good looking little tank the way it is. And to be honest with you, the Scimitars kind of got an upgrade. I mean, the last time I played them, they only had a 4.4 bolt gun. And when I looked at them over the weekend, it was 5.5. And I'm like, holy crap, we got an upgrade, and I didn't even notice it.
Well, that might be. Did the original Scimitar have a Wizzo in it?
Yes.
Yes, and that's why it probably got kicked over and penetration or something got added to it or something.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a bad thing. I just was surprised. I looked at the little tank and I was like, I want to say they used to be 109 points, and they're just good for running around and securing objectives and trying to distract the enemy and occasionally poking a damaged CAV or something, with its laser bolt gun
Right.
from downtown. And I looked at them again and I was like, 5.5. These things are
Right.
fantastic.
The scimitar is the old Manchester from the Rogue Legion line, and so they were scaled for that. So they're close enough that they're okay, but it does need some scale adjustment and stuff. Which when we switch it over to dual cast, and the barrels need to be thickened up and things like that. But it'll look relatively the same. It's just going to be updated. So
I mean, in our real world forces, like the Marines that have tanks have like smaller, like not main battle tanks, right?
right,
So to me, the scimitar is just, it's like not a scout tank, but
right,
like a smaller tank, so you can pack a bunch of them in a drop ship and drop them down to do, like sort of our force recon sort of stuff where you're reconning with, like fairly heavy units. I love the look of
yeah.
that tank. That thing is.
Well,
I've
from
got 9 of them painted.
from the first Iraq War, at that point, the Marines still were running M60s. You put an
That's what I thought.
M60 next to an M1, and you're there. It kind of looks like a despot and a scimitar.
Yep,
So
in a scimitar,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And
absolutely.
now they're going to go totally away. I guess Marines are not going to have no tanks no more. They're not going to have any more armor or anything like that. So
Cthulhu's working on a purple camo pattern. I'm excited. Those Templars came out really good, man. I'm looking forward to seeing what you're gonna do.
my big ones are Eagles and Gepards. The Eagles are close. That's one that Tom's been working on. The Gepard is, I think we've got some preliminary ideas for it, but I don't think that anybody's started on a design yet. So
Is that an Almirathal thing, the Gepard or Japard, however you say that?
I don't remember which faction it belongs to. I think it's an open model.
It might
Yeah,
be.
I forget who's the original manufacturer, but I believe it's an open model.
Hmm.
So, to me, my two big ones are the helicopters and the engineering vehicles.
Yeah, I'm excited for some of those.
Yeah,
And some more good science fiction-y terrain. I'm looking forward to some of that stuff you were talking about.
yeah. No, we want to definitely keep going into that direction with some more terrain things. There's some stuff that we can still do that was in the book, that'll be a little more CAV specific, that may not have worked as well in plastic because we needed a wider deal, but we can do with this. I think that we've played around with like the barrier walls and the smoke screens and stuff like that to be able to do a version that you can paint up and actually have a piece for it on the board. So lots of things that we can do there. I would like to come out with some more pieces to add on to the trench. Some turns and tees and stuff like that would be kind of cool.
So you're talking about that trench that came out in the Kickstarter
Yeah.
3 terrain?
Yeah, because it's just a straight piece, and if you put them end to end, you can stretch it out for the length. But, and of course, since we can't dig into your game in your board, that's the reason they're elevated up. But, we could take those and add on to that with some turns, and you could build an entire trench system that would look pretty cool. So. The Typhoon was going to be a cool one. So that one, I've got the basic design for that. So think Stuka. I think that's the right one.
That'll be a good looking aircraft.
Yes. What would a sci-fi version of a Stuka look like? So.
I mean, I know what the sci-fi version of an A-10 looks like.
Yeah. Yeah. Question. All right, we'll get it in there because we're just about done for tonight. Must be a long one because they had to put in question for you to everybody stare. Watch. I'm getting ready to type a big one.
Well,
No,
while we're waiting,
I don't have the lottery numbers. I'm sorry.
I was going to encourage everybody to go over to the Discord. There's a virtual CAVCon channel over there where Ross and Todd and he are working on their forces. I'm posting up over there too, and you can see what's going into some really cool looking kit bashes. Ask questions. Why are there so many tigers in Todd's force? You should be. That's the place to go over there and hit those guys up for specifics. Get into their brain and figure out what it is they're doing and why they're doing it. It's a lot of value over there. A lot of brain power and modeling power too.
Question. Revetments and stationary, do they need revisited since stationary happens? I have given some thought to those. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure yet. Obviously, it needs probably some kind of a change. It may be something different to take into the account because technically, even if you're in a revetment and you stay stationary, you are easier to hit from the standpoint that you're not moving. Obviously, you are harder to hit because you can see less of you. So it'll be something that probably will down the road that we'll address to take that into account. So also speaking of Discord channels, I started a tabletop simulator channel in the Discord as well. That if people want to volunteer and help and know more about it than I do or something like that, it's not anything that I'm trying to put together and have ready tomorrow. But if it's something that you want to help out with and want to start doing some research on it and figure out some things and how it puts together, I know that I get it. The German mech force guys. BattleTech in Germany is a religion. I mean, I think there's like Lutherans and then there's BattleTech players. I mean, it's huge. Mm-hmm. And here over the last couple of months, they've been doing some stuff with it. It's just incredible what they've got that program to do for a BattleTech game. Cool. With the way it looks. So I think there's a lot of things that we could do there with it, but it's something I would like to get put together. I don't have the time to just sit down and do nothing but work on it for a month and get it ready. But if it's something that we can all get some people to help out with a little bit here and there and figure it out and how we need to do this and put that together, I think maybe as a community we can get something together. So anyway, but that's what the Discord channel is. That way people can share things and throw stuff in there and pay attention and see what we've done so far and whatnot. So, all right. I'll even put that on my note list, revetments and stationary. Yep. It is something that I have thought about before. I just haven't got to the point where I was ready to say this is what it's going to be. All right. Any last minute thoughts or concerns, James, that you want to?
No, I mean, I think everything's going well. People are active. There's, people joining the group, several times this week. I'm excited to work on these poltergeists and these outlaws. I think everything's going swimmingly. We just need that dual cast machine to make its grand entrance.
Yep, we're ready for it. We're ready for the rest of the parts to come in. So, all right. So that's what we're going to end the night on. Hope is eternal. So that's our overall theme tonight. Hope is eternal, and I appreciate everybody coming in. It's been a good night, good conversation, good talking. Hopefully Chris will be here Saturday to finish up the Mammoth, Mastodon, Oliphant. I think too, I need to go back and check. I think there was a vehicle maybe in the last patch, the last update. There was an Oliphant vehicle that I didn't.
Yeah,
I forgot
yeah.
about. So I need to tweak that a little bit. So that's what happens when you think of something one day and do something different the next. So, but anyway, yes, everybody have a good night. Hopefully Chris will be back Saturday. If not, James will be here Monday night. I'll be back Tuesday night. We'll be here next Wednesday. And it's like Groundhog Day. So we will see you all later. Take care.
Bye-bye. Take care, everybody.